What does it mean to be cultural competent? I think it means to understand your culture and live through the morals and beliefs of your culture.
Being culturally competent. Honestly, I don't know. I guess it would be like understanding, like having the understanding of maybe like multiple and different cultures. But honestly and truly, I really don't know. I've never even heard that phrase before.
Um, I guess to me, being culturally competent means having the ability to understand your culture and to pass it on to other people, try to teach them about your culture and why it is you have certain traditions, why it is you do certain things. Um, yeah.
All right, what is it to be culturally competent? Um, I guess it means to kind of embrace your culture and be responsible for spreading information about your culture and like passing it down to generations after you. I really don't know.
Just like them, I entered this course struggling with the concept of what it means to be culturally competent. Prior to taking this class, I would occasionally hear the pairing of these words, cultural competence, but I did not know exactly how to define it. Through the completion of assignments that I once thought of as tedious, I can now say that I have a better grasp of what these two words mean. My journey to become more culturally competent this semester has been a trying yet life altering experience for me that I will never forget. Prior to taking this course, if someone asked me who I am, I did not know exactly what to say. Now I know who I am. My name is Andrika Langston, and I'm an African American, a woman, a Christian, a middle class citizen, an adolescent, and a student at Georgia State University pursuing a degree in social work. And here is my journey. One of our very first assignments for this class was to take a pretest. I scored 100 on the social work cultural competencies self assessment pretest and a 237 on the cultural competencies with culturally diverse groups and social and economic justice pretest, which made me somewhat culturally competent. But I was just a couple of points away from not being culturally competent. I was confused because I considered myself to be extremely culturally aware. I figured my score should have been much higher, and I must have made a mistake when answering. But over this course, I soon realized that it should have been much lower because everything I thought I knew, I didn't. One of the assignments that really helped open my eyes was the dominant and subordinate paper. When I first began writing, I quickly began listing out all the groups I was subordinate in, since I figured I had the most of my memberships to subordinate groups. As being an African American and a woman, I struggled to think of more. I was shocked because for so long I felt like my memberships were only exclusive to oppressed and vulnerable groups. It was actually easier for me to think of all the dominant groups that I'm a part of. I did not realize how privileged I was. I came to the realization that this is why people are not as motivated to help advocate for or take in consideration the everyday tasks vulnerable populations have to undergo compared to theirs. It is most likely because they don't realize how privileged they really are, like how I didn't know how privileged I was. Another assignment that assisted me along this journey to cultural competency is the team group project. My team's topic was sexism, and I had the pleasure to sit down and talk to Mrs. Shalita Reed, the executive director at CareNet Pregnancy Resource Center, which is an organization right here in Atlanta and walking distance from Georgia State's campus. Mrs. Reed told us about all the resources they offer there, from pregnancy and HIV testing to counseling for both women and men. It was amazing that such a helpful resource was right around the corner from campus, and many people probably do not even know it's there. It made me realize how important it is for people and social workers, especially, to be aware of what resources are available to them in their community because you never know when you'll need them. The cultural immersions were another assignment that played a huge role in my cultural competence journey. I was able to talk to members of certain cultural groups and take part in events that I thought I would never experience. One of my favorite cultural immersions was the one I did with the LGBTQ community. I decided to experience the Pride Festival since it was something I always wanted to do, but had always been too hesitant to actually attend. When I first arrived, a parade was taking place. I saw a variety of people, not just members of the LGBTQ community. I saw parents holding up signs that said, "I love my gay son," or "I love my transgender daughter," and so on. There were so many people dancing and embracing their sexuality and just who they are in general. I saw many transgenders in beautiful gowns, and instead of them getting laughed at or teased, they were cheered on and encouraged. It was such an uplifting environment to be a part of, and I enjoyed every minute. That day, I realized that the LGBTQ movement was not strictly all about gay or transgender individuals. It's all about love and having the liberty to love who you want and be who you want. Another cultural immersion I enjoyed was the one I did on the religion of Islam. I had the opportunity to witness a gathering of people of the Islamic community reciting captivating poems and chants to mourn the death of Hussein ibn Ali on a day otherwise known as the Day of Ashura. A young girl taking part in the event stopped to inform me about how Hussein was the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad and a revolutionary leader who gave everything he had, including his life, to honor those around him. She also gave me a rose and a pamphlet that read a quote in bold letters from Hussein stating, "Those who are silent while others are oppressed are guilty of oppression themselves." I found this to be extremely relevant to myself as well as others, because we often think not taking part in oppressing others is okay, but it puts us just as much fault as the oppressors. I left the event with a new respect for the Islamic community. After these assignments and memorable events, I went back to take the post test. I made 107 on the first one and a 254 on the second one, which both classify as being likely for cultural competency. It may have not been significantly higher than my pretest, but it was improvement, and I definitely felt like it was more accurate than my first scores. I was proud that I could honestly say I was more culturally competent than I was coming into this course. Over this semester, I have learned more about myself and who I am. I have learned about different cultures that I have always been too afraid to learn more about. I have learned how to approach individuals of any other culture I may come across. I have learned many things that I will continue to carry with me in whatever area I choose to focus on in my social work career. My journey to cultural competency is far from finished yet, and I'm looking forward to see what's in store for me next.